Terrific. Today I'm going to look at another set of two-way radios from Retevis. Like you maybe know, on my channel page, I can show this to you here. I reviewed a lot of two-way radios already, which you can find in the appropriate playlist. But today I'm going to check these very compact, trendy radios. Usually you have compact ones, or sometimes you have a little bit bigger ones. So normally Retevis has something for everybody, and I'm actually impressed. The company is really busy. They're always launching different models, and it's very, very nice to see how they grow their business. And today we're going to check the RT618. For you, please make sure to always notice that two-way radios usually are specific to your country or geographic area. So if you're located in Europe, let's say you're in Britain or Germany or something like that, in Europe you use the PMR radios, and if you're located in North America, United States, then you would use the FRS radios, which also give you a higher output power. I can show this to you here. The PMR has only 0.5 and the FRS, usually they have 2. So that's something you can keep in mind when shopping for a radio, because often these types of radios, they come in 2 versions. So the radios look totally identical, but they have different frequencies and a different output power programmed depending on your geographic area. Having said that, in part 2, next up, I'm going to do a quick unboxing, show you a few close-up shots of these radios. Then in part 3, I'm going to go outside to do my usual range test. I always have the same test routes. People sometimes ask me what my route is like, and while there are some buildings and some trees, it's very moderate. So it's not a difficult test routes for these radios at all. If you're something in a very urban area with a lot of concrete buildings, yeah, I mean, at least in Europe, where you only have 0.5 watts output power, the lower your output power, obviously, if there are lots of buildings, the signal can get sucked up very quickly. So sometimes you have these big brands that sell radios at the store, and they give you such and such amount of kilometers or such and such an amount of miles. Obviously, the companies sometimes have this competition going on, who puts the highest range on the package, when in fact the output power is more or less the same. So always keep in mind, if you see a high range, the manufacturer usually tests that on maybe a plain field without any obstructions or something around that. The lesson when it comes to ranges, the range depends on your environment. So I'm always going the same test route, so it's somewhat comparable. But while I could get a higher range usually on my test route, I don't want to go too far, because then it could create the wrong impression. Oh wow, this guy got 3 miles of range and someone else tests it and they only get 1 mile. So do you get what I'm saying? The range is dependent on your environment. But since the radios all have the same output power, it's kind of comparable. Unless sometimes when I test radios, there are some outliers that really perform poorly. But the Retevis, usually most of the time, they're perfectly fine. So guys, I digress. I talked a lot, but that's from my personal experience. I really wanted to share this with you. So next up, the unboxing, then the range test, and then the summary and conclusion. Let's get rolling. Now we're going to take a closer look at the Retevis RT618. And those are very nice compact radios. Let me quickly open up the box, manual, the radios itself. That's also a consideration that you can make. Do you want something that's a little bit more compact, or do you want something that's bigger? People, if you have a large hand, something bigger might be nice, but actually I like them because they are so super flat. And yeah, you have the belt clips, some lanyards, and why don't I, that's always something I like to do for my viewers, show you a close-up shot. Like I told you, I really like Retevis because they constantly launch new products, so they're really driven. I doubt the German company is that has those fast product cycles and it pushes out new stuff all the time. So the battery is 1000 milliamp hours. Lithium ion should be totally good for the occasional user. So let me quickly put this in, slides into place. Here you see where you can put the belt clip. And as I told you, the belt clip is made out of metal, so that should make it a little bit more sturdy than, for example, if you had a plastic belt clip. So that's nice. And Yeah, I mean, I love this minimalistic design. Let's turn this on.
Turn on the rate 10.
And it's quite loud. You can switch the channels here.
11, 12, 11, 10.
And then you can control the volume up here. So that must be pretty loud. And you can make it quieter. So very nice. Interesting is also you have two push to talk buttons, one here and then one here. So you can push either this one for transmitting or you can push this one for transmitting, which I think is kind of handy. And then we're gonna do a quick test, transmit, receive. And it works perfectly fine. And I like this big illuminated LED ring because that way you know you push it and you visually see, okay, you're pushing the button and you see, okay, I'm taking the finger off. So some radios, they only have a small light up here or no light at all. And obviously it's important for you to visually see, are you transmitting or are you receiving a signal? Very nicely made, very compact, very minimal. I like minimal design. And now you can consider how to charge this. Obviously there is no charging dock included. There is no charger included. You charge it via USB. So if you know you have enough USB power supplies handy, then you can use those. Otherwise, if you're a little bit more serious, Retevis also has these separate charger units with 5-port USB chargers, which are very nice. So you potentially could plug in 10 of these radios if you work on a construction site, or some of the Retevis radios, they have single USB docking stations, so you could put 5 docking stations in there. That's really a consideration, a little bit of an accessory upgrade. But I digress. Why don't we just go start with part 3, the range test.
Range test of the small tiny Retevis RT618. Test point number 1, 420 feet. Keep in mind those are the European radios. 420 feet, test point number 1 of the tiny Retevis RT618. Range check of the Retevis radio at test point number 2. Usually these Retevis radios perform fairly nicely. 790 feet, 790 feet. Testing the European version, test point number 2, 790 feet of the Retevis. And again, we reached the next range test point of this very compact Retevis radio. Test point number 3 with 1,250 feet, 1,250 feet. And keep in mind, many of these radios are available in a higher output power US version as well, where you have the Europeans have 0.5 and the Americans have 2 watts. So if you're in the States, check out the FRS. I put a link below. Test point number 3, 1,250 feet. And once more we do the range test of the Retevis radios at test point number 4 with approximately 1,540 feet, 1,540 feet. And usually that's no problem for the Retevis radios on my beginning test route in the suburbs, just walking down the road. Test point number 4, 1,540 feet. Range check guys, people enjoying the nice weather today outside. Test point number 5 is 2,000 feet, approximately 2,000 feet of these Retevis radios. It's really awesome to be outside in nature and enjoy the sunshine. So let's see how these radios perform. 2,000 feet, test point number 5. And again, range check of the Retevis radios. Sometimes at test point number 6 with 2,300 feet, some radios, the quality deteriorates a little bit, but yeah, we will see how the Retevis performs. Test point number 6, 2,300 feet. So range check of the Retevis radios, guys. I skipped test point number 7 again because I'm always walking by the embassy and I don't want to disturb anybody there. So test point number 8 with 3,200 feet for 0.6 miles approximately. So let's see whether you can still hear this clearly. I'm kind of curious as well. So let's head a little bit further and then conclude the test. Test point number 8, 0.6 miles approximately. And again, range check guys. Now at test point number 9, I hope you can still hear me clearly. We have reached 3,900 feet or approximately 3/4 of a mile, and let's see how this sounds. Sometimes the smaller radios perform a little bit more worse than the bigger ones because of the antenna. So test point number 9, 3/4 of a mile. So guys, last range check for today, test point number 10, approximately 4,900 feet or almost a mile. So if you still hear me clearly, that's pretty okay for these low power 0.5 watt European PMR radios. Keep in mind, if you're in the United States, you can get 4 times the output power of a total of 2 watts, so then you should get a much higher range. So I'll put the link below. So that concludes the range test of these PMR radios. Test point number 10.
Yeah, terrific. This concludes the range test of the Retevis RT618. Very nice, compact, little two-way radios. And if you're in the States, make sure to look for the FRS version. The version that I tested is the European PMR. So that only has 1/4 of the output power. If you have favorable conditions and 2 watts, you potentially could get even further. What I liked about the radios is when I push the talk button, you see this green light illuminates, and there is a small time delay after you release the button when this green light is also disappearing. So I released it and now it shuts off. Very nice, very compact, very useful to flip this button up here. I really like these. For what it's worth, they're really affordable. They don't have a lot of accessories, but I think this is totally fine for the occasional user. I showed you also this separate USB charger that you can also get if you plan to use them more frequently, or if you have more than 2. That could be an interesting accessory. Guys, let me know what other radios you want to see on my channel. I have made a lot of videos already from different manufacturers. Let me show this to you here in the playlist two-way radios. You can find Motorola's, Floreon's. Done a lot of Retevis and a bunch of other manufacturers. Awesome for tuning in. I see you in the next video. Have fun with your new gear. Take care. And because you just watched one of my two-way radio reviews, you might also be interested in comparing the radios that you just saw against some waterproof models, such as these Retevis RT618. Those are also very nice. I tested them outside in the water and they performed. They were absolutely watertight. Guys, you can subscribe right now to my channel. A lot of people have already done so because of the useful content that I provide for you here. I see you in the next video. Take care.